Hi, everyone. I'm Taylor Combaluzier, a mining analyst at Red Cloud Securities. This session of our Oktoberfest Fall Mining Showcase will feature Kesselrun Resources. Kesselrun is a gold explorer and is focused on advancing its flagship uranium project in Ontario. From the company, we have with us Michael Thompson, President and CEO. I'll note that if attendees have questions, to just type them in through the Q&A link and we'll get to them at the end of the session. The presentation is also available on the conference website. And with that, I'll turn it right over to Mike to guide us through the story.
Thanks, Taylor. So Kesselrun Resources, we're exploring for near surface high-grade gold in emerging gold district in Northwestern Ontario. It's a top-tier jurisdiction. Northwestern Ontario is a great place to work, mining friendly, good infrastructure. Surrounding areas has several multi-million ounce gold deposits. We're concentrating on our Huronium project, as Taylor said, past producer, high grade. It also hosts an historic gold resource of approximately 500,000 ounce, grading around 14 grams per ton. We did a raise in December 2020, a $6 million raise, which is the funding for our exploration program, drilling program on the Huronium that we just commenced in January and is ongoing. So a rundown of our cap structure, we're trading around 16 cents, about 78 million shares outstanding, and we're still at about $3 million cash and cash equivalents. So we're situated quite well. Management and insiders are big shareholders, 10%. I'm a big shareholder. I got a good chunk of that 10%. So I'll go over this quickly. We've got a great team led by myself. I'm a professional geologist with over 20 years experience, but a lot of depth, geologists and capital market experience in our directors and management team. So here's Northwestern Ontario, sort of the area south of Red Lake, for those of you somewhat familiar with it. Good infrastructure, lots of Trans-Canada highways, lots of secondary highways and logging roads, hydro, natural gas pipelines all throughout the area. One producer, the Rainy River gold mine, operated by New Gold. Lots of projects in development. The one project that has our interest is situated right next door to our Huronium project, and that's the Moss Lake project that Wesdome previously held and has spun into a new company called Goldshore Resources that is commencing a 100,000 meter drill program. It's a 3 million ounce deposit just situated to the east of our project. So there's the project, there's the Huronium project, past producer, 4,600 hectare land package, 100% owned, no payments going forward. NSRs range from 2 to 2.5% throughout the project. As I said, it's about 15 kilometers south of the Trans-Canada, so lots of road network through. Access is easy, drill year round. We started drilling in January. So there's the Moss Lake deposit right next door. Geology runs onto the southern part of our project, but we're concentrating our efforts here currently at the historic mine that produced about 30,000 ounces in the 1930s. And then the 3 zones that surround that historic mine zone that has that historic resource of approximately 500,000 ounces at 14, 15 grams. A little history of the project. It was discovered in the 1870s, commercial production in the 1930s. It was various operators through the 80s and 90s. And Pele Gold puts the package together from 14 different vendors, so quite a feat, but doesn't really get the attention it deserved. And then we acquired the project in 2016, and we spent the years after that compiling all that data, getting it digital, doing quite a bit of modeling and targeting, a lot of boots on the ground work, mapping, trenching, did some geophysics in the Huronian area, came up with a new structural interpretation of the Huronian zone, and discovered a couple new zones as well. We did an initial 3,000 meter drill program last summer. The results were quite exciting. Market looked at it quite favorably, and we did a $6 million financing in December, and that is what's funding this this 20,000 plus meter program that we commenced in the early parts of this year. There's a bit of a zoom in of the area. Goldshaw's pit outline that was envisioned in the PEA done by Westone back in the day. Geology strikes onto the southern part of our project. So we're quite excited about the prospectivity of this area down here. The flexures in these shear zones we think are key to focusing the gold mineralization. We think there's another flexure here that we've identified, and we're just refining and getting that drill ready. But our efforts are, as I said, focused on this flexure on the Huronian gold trend, opposed to the historic resource and the historic production. There's a bit of a zoom in of the zones. There's the McKellar, the Fisher, and the Fisher North. Those are the three zones that have that historic resource. To note, the Huronian zone itself, the historically mined zone, did not have any of that historic resource. The zones are typically 10 meters wide, including the Huronian, but the historic production was the high grade portion. So this 10-meter wide zone typically has multiple quartz veins. One of those quartz veins was typically the one mined. So there's a lot of remnant mineralization left in Huronian, but similar mineralization styles in all the zones, give or take 10 meters wide, multiple high-grade veins throughout. There's a shot of the mine, the Huronian mine back in the 30s at the height of the production days. The main 3-compartment shaft here, secondary shaft, 1-compartment shaft here, and this trench we dug through the mine waste to get eyes on the Huronian zone. It's actually situated right beside that shaft here. So a lot of potential for remnant resources in the Huronian zone. So here's a long section of the mined out areas in gray, the stopes. So as I said, 10-meter wide zone, but typically what they were mining was the best high-grade vein in about a meter wide. So we think there's a lot of remnant mineralization in between these stopes, and also on adjacent to these the 1 meter wide stopes. So we've been drilling with the goal twofold, to evaluate that remnant resource potential in and amongst the stopes, but also to better understand that mineralization style and better target down plunge. So you can see we've got some quite fantastic results: 80 grams over half a meter, 13 grams over approximately a meter. So lots of remnant mineralization, and we're just starting to get a better understanding of which way it's plunging, down dip and down plunge. Good results, 3 meters at 13 grams. So quite happy with the results in there. I'm just barely scratching the surface. Fisher zone, and that's just a shot of the aerial shot from last year. Fisher zone long section, also good results. We're got it to about 400 meters strike length, 200 meters depth. We're progressing, expanding that footprint, long strike and down dip. A gratuitous shot of visible gold and sort of that typical alteration and mineralization package in Fisher. McKellar zone, which is to the southwest of Huronian, we're continually drilling that. We've got it to about 500 meters strike length, down to about 100 meters depth. Very good grades, very similar to Huronian, very similar to Fisher, 10 meters wide, give or take 5 to 10 meters wide, 5 to 10 grams with higher grade portions within it. So we're quite excited about this zone as well. We're also expanding that footprint, bringing it down to dip and down plunge. And again, here's some shots of McKellar, bit of the visible gold, and a typical vein and alteration package. So we continue to expand the footprint on all these zones, the Fisher, the McKellar, and the Huronian. We're progressing along strike and down plunge, evaluating further targets on those horizons as well. We're actually just getting closer to 17,000 meters drilling right now of a 20,000 meter drill budget. We're well under budget. We're running about $180 a meter all in. So we'll be easily be able to drill more than 20,000 meters. We're looking good on the budget, and we're well funded for the remainder of the year. That's it. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Mike. So we'll turn now to the Q&A session. So if you have any questions, please submit them using the Q&A link. To start off, you went through a number of the zones, obviously having, good success. Which zone are you most optimistic about, or could have the potential to kind of grow the most, I guess, at this point?
Well, I mean, that historic resource, I would approximately about 60% of it was on the Fisher zone. So this is garnering a lot of our attention. The results so far have been very encouraging, but in all honesty, I think all three zones are of equal potential. So just they're at slightly different stages.
Okay. And speaking of the historical resource, it obviously, as you said, didn't include the Huronian zone.
Right.
Going forward, once you do an update, which zones would be included, or is it too early to say yet?
Well, I think yeah, we've got a bit more drilling on the Huronian to really flesh out that historic resource. The data from the historic mining is quite poor. It gives us good enough idea of to sort of point us in the right direction, but not quite good enough to sort of incorporate it into a resource. So we've got quite a bit of drilling to do in and amongst these stopes to really flesh out that historic resource. But I expect McKellar, Huronian, and Fisher will play part in the eventual resource estimate.
Okay. And so far, kind of from what you're seeing, could any of the zones support an open pit scenario, since the mineralization's from surface, or how's that?
Yeah, I think any of them have that potential. I mean, McKellar is there's quite wide portions to it. I mean, you can get there's 60, almost 68 meters at 1.5 grams. I mean, that's quite a good intercept in a open pit mining sort of scenario. But yeah, I think any of the zones could have starter pits on them. I mean, it's much too early to tell, but so we're sort of arm waving. But yeah, a lot of potential for both underground and open pit.
Okay, great. And I know you didn't discuss in the presentation, but you do have the Bluff Point asset as well.
Sure.
Is there any work planned there, or kind of where does it stand right now?
We're probably looking in the spring to do some UAV magnetics. Do a good detailed survey. It's a granite hosted target on strike from the Rainy River gold mine. It's got a huge alteration and gold mineralizing footprint. I'm using a Cote Lake analogy, which that I Am Gold and Sumitomo project was in the news this morning. So
okay, great. And then we've probably got a few seconds left here. What is there any key thing that you think the market may be missing? You've obviously gotten lots of good results to date.
Well, yeah, this is an up and coming sort of area. It's underexplored, and we need to get eyes on it. I think that's just Goldshore commencing their 100,000 meter program will be huge to get eyes on that.
Okay, perfect. And with that, we are out of time. So thanks very much, Mike, for presenting Kesselrun resources to us.